pa rin, Tatak City High.
Hi! Welcome to Oral Communication in Context. Today, as we start our journey in this subject, we begin with Module 1, the nature and elements of communication. But before we proceed, let me give you the objective of this lesson. At the end of this lesson, we have to explain the functions, nature, and process of communication. So focus and be attentive in this video. Are you ready? Let's begin. Don't you know that the word communication came from the Latin word communicare, which means to share? Yes, you heard it right. Communication refers to sharing of information, ideas, or thoughts. As we move forward with our lesson, let us explore the nature of communication. As you can see, this is how communication is basically done. It actually involves the three basic components for an effective flow of communication. These are the speaker, the message, and the receiver. With these three, we can say that there is a process in communication. That is the first nature of communication. This slide represents the next nature of communication. It shows that the speaker delivers a message, which was responded by the receiver in a form of a feedback. We can say that communication is interactive. But it can only be interactive if there is a continuous response between the speaker and the receiver. We have here nodding, waving, frowning, and shouting. Can we convey a message through these? The answer is yes. This nature of communication is said to be symbolic. For your information, communication is divided into two branches. We have verbal and non-verbal communication. When you say verbal communication, we use words, whether it is written or spoken, like by saying, "I love you." We can say it to someone, or we can write it in a form of a letter. But that is not symbolic. When you say symbolic, these are the actions, gestures, or even facial expressions that have meaning or give the verbal message more meaningful. Like, for example, picture number 1. When you try to nod to someone, you're trying to disagree onto something. There you have it, the three natures of communication. Communication is a process. Communication is interactive, and it is symbolic. We have said a while ago that communication is dynamic in its process, and in order for us to understand the flow of communication, which will be discussed later, we have to know first the different variables that help or create it. These are the elements of communication. First, speaker. It is the source of information or message. Message. These are the information, ideas, or thoughts conveyed by the speaker in words, or even in actions. Encoding. It is the process of converting the message into words, actions, or other forms that the speaker understands. Channel. The medium or the means such as personal or non-personal, verbal or non-verbal, in which the encoded message is conveyed. Decoding. It is the process of interpreting the encoded message of the speaker by the receiver. Receiver. It is the recipient of the message, or someone who decodes the message. Feedback. These are the reactions, responses, or information provided by the receiver. Context. It is the environment where communication takes place. Barrier. These are the factors that affect the flow of communication. There are different kinds of barrier. We have emotional barriers, use of jargon, lack of confidence, and noisy environment. We have just finished learning the elements. It is now the perfect time that we fully understand the flow of communication. As you can see in the diagram, the sender always starts the flow of communication. Before the speaker starts to speak, he or she first generates an idea. The speaker starts to encode an idea or converts the idea into words or actions. Then, the speaker transmits or sends out a message through any form of a channel. When the receiver gets the message, the receiver decodes or interprets the message based on the context. Right after the message is decoded, it is a time now that the receiver sends or provides feedback. Let's take a look at the example in the next slide. The scenario is confession. Daphne loves Rico, her suitor, as a friend. She thinks of how to tell him using their native language. She tells him, Rico, mahal kita bilang kaibigan. Rico hears what Daphne says. He tries to analyze what she means based on the content and their relationship, and he is heartbroken. He frowns and does not say something because he is in pain. Now we are done with Module 1. I want you to share what you have learned today and the things that you look forward to know. Do not forget to check our Google Classroom and answer the activities. Thank you for listening. This has been your online teacher in oral communication, Regine Eldorapan, saying, raise your flag so high because you are tatak si Tihay. Class dismissed.